Arizona is in a drought, which means water for our precious wildlife is really scarce, and the fight for survival is more difficult than ever. And as Terry Ouellette from our sister station in Phoenix explains, there's a way for you to make a difference.
Our Arizona heat can be brutal. You know, temperatures can hover over 100 degrees for months at a time. And rain, well, we just don't get enough.
So what does that leave us? A dry, barren, thirsty desert. And its residents are thirsty too. All across our state, especially during the summer months, wildlife struggle to find water. So back in 1946, the Arizona Game and Fish Department recognized this and did something to help by building the first Arizona Guzzler, the very first water fountain for wild animals.
Since then, over 3,000 catchments just like these have been built, and they are scattered all across our state to keep our precious wildlife alive. This is Joe Curry, and Joe Curry, you've been bringing water to our animals for some 22 years. What do you see when you pull up to a catchment?
You can see some amazing things. Sometimes you'll see the actual wildlife using it. We've seen bears taking baths in them. We've seen, deer families drinking, quail, just any kind of wildlife you can think of.
You say sometimes they're even waiting for you to get there. They hear the truck pulling up.
Exactly, yes. We've even had it on bad years where the catchment's very low, and when you're dumping the water, it's almost like they know what's happening, and they'll come and they'll stand at a distance because they're still wild animals, but they're waiting for you to leave so they can come and get a drink of water.
Why is it so important to our wildlife to have catchments like these?
It's because it's a desert. It's probably one of the most harshest landscapes in the world to try and survive in. And with human intervention of highways, canals, cities, and everything, we've compromised where they can travel to go get water and everything like that. So we're bringing the water to them.
Let's talk about the biology, the science behind this, the catchments all across our state. How do you pick where a catchment should be placed?
So a lot of times during survey times and just places where we see wildlife a lot. And then what we've also noticed is how far an animal will travel for water. So our average animal will travel about 1.5 miles or 2 miles. So we've tried to spread them out about 4 miles apart, and there's some areas that we don't deal with because there is a stream or a lake. So we just got to make sure that we stay far enough away from other sources.
What would happen if we didn't have these catchments?
We would have population fluctuations, drastic ones, because during good years, wet years, you would have a lot of survival and recruitment and everything. But on a year like last year, we would have had probably mass die-offs to the point of really, really low numbers where you wouldn't see any animals because there would be so few.
Many of the catchments have been designed to be self-sustaining. So when it does rain, it can collect and hold the rainwater, which helps because some of the catchments are in very remote areas. Just getting there can be a challenge, physically and financially.
The department recently started a text donation campaign to help defray some of the maintenance costs for this particular program. As a lot of people can imagine, it's very expensive to help deliver some of the water to some remote locations around the states. A lot of times we even have to airdrop water in, and those costs do add up. The Arizona Game and Fish Department doesn't get any general fund tax dollars, so any donations that we can get from the public really go a long way. Arizona Game and Fish Department, actually, a lot of people don't realize, we act as stewards for more than 800 species here in Arizona, much of which aren't huntable or fishable wildlife. We also work with endangered species to help bring them back to their populations back up here in the state. If we weren't able to bring the water to wildlife, we may see die-offs of local populations of wildlife because the water is critical for their survival just as much as it is ours.
So think about it. When you're thirsty, you can just grab one of these. But what about our wildlife? You can help keep these catchments full. Here's how.
It's actually very easy. All you have to do is text "send water" to 41444. That's 41444. Just text "send water" or visit sendwater.org.